Welcome to The Explainer. What if the future of mental health care wasn't in some brand new pill, but in rediscovering ancient wisdom? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating paper that suggests just that. A new model that weaves together modern science, contemplative practices, and the deep, deep knowledge of traditional cultures. So this is the big question at the heart of it all. It really challenges our modern ideas about medicine. It makes you wonder, to solve the problems of tomorrow, do we actually need to look back into the past for answers we might have forgotten? All right, so first things first, let's set the stage. To really get why this new path is so radical, we have to understand two things: the sheer scale of the crisis we're facing and a powerful set of tools that science is just now rediscovering after they've been locked away for decades. And the paper pulls no punches here. Right from the get-go, it says we are smack in the middle of a global mental health crisis. It's this massive, massive burden on society. And let's be honest, our current ways of dealing with it just aren't cutting it. And this number, wow, this really puts the problem into perspective. 90%. In many low and middle income countries, that's the gap in treatment for things like mood disorders. It means the vast, overwhelming majority of people who desperately need help just can't get it. So, you might be asking, where do psychedelics fit into this picture? Well, as you can see, there was this burst of really promising research back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. But then, boom, it was all shut down by regulations. It took until the 1990s, with a little help from private funding, for this science to finally make a comeback. And this new wave of research is, frankly, staggering. We're seeing clinical trials with incredible results for specific compounds. You've got psilocybin for major depression, MDMA for PTSD, even ketamine for depression that nothing else has touched. And we're talking about huge, lasting improvements after just 1 or 2 guided sessions. It's a real game changer. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper, because this is where things get really interesting. The research is showing that the drug itself is only one piece of the puzzle. It's what the drug allows a person to experience that holds the real power.
This is such a critical point. The healing doesn't just happen because of a chemical reaction in the brain. It comes from the experience the drug facilitates. This profound, deeply meaningful, sometimes even spiritual journey, all happening within a safe and supportive setting.
Now, the paper gives these experiences a name: self-transcendent experiences. I know, it sounds a little academic, but think of it like this. It's like the volume knob on your ego gets turned way, way down. That constant voice in your head, the one worrying about you all the time, it gets quiet. And it's replaced by this incredible feeling of being connected to something much, much bigger than yourself. And here's the twist. Psychedelics aren't the only way to get there. Not by a long shot. For literally thousands of years, people have been using contemplative practices, things like meditation, yoga, mindfulness, to train their minds to do the exact same thing. And this is where it all clicks into place. The paper argues that when you put these two things together, psychedelics and contemplative practices, the effect is synergistic. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2, it's like 1 + 1 = 5. They boost each other, making the whole experience deeper and more beneficial. This leads us to a deeper and, honestly, an absolutely essential question. Where did all this knowledge about mind-altering plants and practices actually come from? Well, the answer goes back way, way before modern science ever existed. So to get this next part, you have to appreciate these two very different worldviews. Our modern biomedical approach likes to zoom in, right? It wants to find one chemical to fix one problem. But traditional systems, they zoom out. They see sickness as a kind of imbalance, a broken connection between you, your community, and the world around you. And make no mistake, this is not new information. For countless generations, indigenous peoples have been the stewards of these plants and the complex knowledge systems that go with them. To them, these were never just drugs. They were sacred tools for getting spiritual insight, for strengthening communities, and for keeping things in balance. Because of that deep history, the paper argues, and I think rightly so, that any path forward has to be guided by what it calls a decolonized agenda. And this isn't just a nice idea, it's an ethical requirement. It means we have to recognize indigenous communities as the original experts, protect their knowledge, and build real partnerships based on trust and respect. So we've got these 3 powerful threads: modern science, contemplative practice, and traditional wisdom. The billion-dollar question is, how do you weave all of that together into something that can actually help millions of people all over the world? Well, here's one of the biggest roadblocks right now: people.
The current gold standard for this kind of therapy is incredibly intensive. You often need two highly trained professionals for just one patient. That's just not going to work on a global scale, especially in places without a lot of resources.
So, how do you solve that? The paper points to a really smart public health strategy called task sharing. The idea is pretty simple. You take specific jobs that are normally done by specialists, and you train community health workers to do them instead. It's a much more efficient use of everyone's time and expertise.
And why is this such a game changer? Because it means we could partner with the very people who are already experts in their communities. People like traditional healers and spiritual guides. You train them, you integrate them into the healthcare system, and suddenly you can expand access to care safely and dramatically. Okay, so this all leads us to the paper's final recommendations. And really, it's a roadmap for a whole new way of thinking about health, about healing, and about what it really means to live a good life. And they don't just leave it as a cool idea. They lay out a clear plan. It starts with collaboration, getting everyone, including Indigenous leaders, to the table. From there, you need to make the rules more flexible to speed up research. And then you have to actually test these new community models to see what really works for people. And this, right here, is the biggest takeaway of all. It's a fundamental shift in what we think the goal of healthcare even is. We move away from just stamping out symptoms of a disease to actively helping people cultivate well-being, connection, and what you could call human flourishing. And that's the thought we'll end on, because it really captures the incredible potential here. What would happen if we actually wove together the best of modern science, the wisdom of ancient practices, and the deep, deep knowledge of traditional cultures? We might just create a world where healthcare helps us not just to survive, but to truly, truly thrive.